See here. Okay. Oh, I can sit here. Raphael's there. Okay, that's good. Oh, here she is. Yes. Sanje Judam Zoye Junamna, Sanjo Bado Dani Jasoche, Daye Sonje Besonam Jen, Rona Benje Sanje. Sanje Judam Zoye Junamna, Sanjo Bado Dani Jasoche, Daye Sonje Besonam Jen, Rona Benje Sanje Jubur. Sanje Judam Zoye Junamna, Sanjo Bado Dani Jasoche, Daye Sonje Besonam Jen, Rona Benje Sanje Jubur. 본인이 지존노 주변놈 지제선세 간제 텐주 그연장의 변모 대전장소노 오런도 신도 흔도 란정 소저고 난도 매기나도 본도 중어조这边 주변 타연장甚至신의 변화 차체 Okay. English.
I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by the virtuous merit that I collect by practicing generosity and the other perfections. May I attain the state of enlightenment for the sake of all beings.
Okay. So now I think we are at the verse number 68. From here, it is more like Shantideva. At the time of Shantideva, there's no missile and war, very shortcut war. At that time, there is more like sword fighting and I don't know what arrow, all this sort of thing. So Shantideva explains in a very epic way. Okay. Now I wanted to all you to remember in the previous chapter, Pagyu. How do you translate that?
Conscientiousness.
Conscientiousness.
Attentiveness.
Okay. And that the definition of the conscientiousness or this so-called Pagyu, that Langdola sopa tullemba. Langdola sopa. Sopa means subsubject. Tullemba.
Being very precise or very careful about what is to be abandoned on the path and what is to be adopted on the path, and making kind of earnest, practicing earnestly in relation to that. So being very precise and careful about what is to be abandoned and what is to be taken up on the path.
Landola sopa tullemba. 진이 잘 초월해 상부도 가진스는데 예수 토메 상벽이 준주고 잡았는데 이것도 와.
So this appears, so I was just checking with Rinpoche if that's kind of definition of what conscientiousness or attentiveness is. I was just kind of curious. And then he said that you can describe it like that because in Gyaltsen Tomisambo's commentary on the root text of Shantideva, that's how he kind of gives the definition of conscientiousness. So we could think of it like that.
The person who has this conscientiousness, or this power in the Tibetan terminology, I think that person is great. It is one of the one kind of, we can say, one kind of realization, because he is a person who has something to, if he don't bring his awareness, or if he does not be careful, then he has something to lose. That means he has something already, he has something precious with him. So therefore he does have this conscientiousness and something to be careful. So we really need to check. Up to now, we've been practicing a lot. We met lots of great lamas and Rinpoches we have to see what kind of qualification, what kind of a quality do I have, that I need to be careful, that if I do something, then I might lose it. This kind of thing, that Geshe Thomas Sambo's commentary, when it, as Simon has translated, this is I learned from Geshe Thomas Sambo. So each and every time when I wake up in the morning, I'm not a good practitioner. I'm not trying to here to say, oh, I practice a lot, but I'm so proud to say this word of Geshe Thomas Sambo really helped me. So something that I like, let's say, when I received a bodhicitta vow from His Holiness, so then each and every day His Holiness has told us to remember the bodhicitta. So when I try to see bodhicitta, sometimes I don't feel like, yeah, I took the vow, and commitment is there, but there's no feeling. And you walk down here and there, and you feel like ordinary, like other people. The sway, the sway, under the sway of the inflections. You don't feel special. Once you have this consciousness, then it makes you that you are not you might be like, yes, ordinary, but inside the ordinary, you are a little bit extraordinary. For an example, most difficult, one of the most difficult is bodhicitta, because ultimately when we think about bodhicitta, we feel folded hand, oh, so great. But when you hear this bodhicitta, can you remember that oh, this self-cherishing mind is so unhealthy to you and to others? Do you feel it? It's being like the balance. If you feel bodhicitta is so precious, then automatically at the same time, you have to feel that self-cherishing is kind of in the center of you, and it is harming you or destroying you or eating you inside. Do you feel it? That's the question to everybody. Oh, it's talking now.
Self-cherishing.
This is necessary because we just go through one kind of practice. Sometimes, I don't know. The environment can be sometimes very, very helpful to move you or improve your practice. But some kind of environment, it makes you like not to improve you, will not let you improve, because there could be many examples, but that's more like we are saying staying in a box. Sometimes we say think out of the box. That's a good one. But there's a danger. You might be completely out of the box and you are making another new box, which is not necessary, which is complicated, which will make your life kind of not to fit in the society. This is dangerous. But thinking out of the box means to see what is inside the box much clearer. So then you need to get out of the box and look into it. It's more like you going, my teacher used to say, go on the top of the hill and then look at this where you are staying. Then you feel like, oh, I'm so rich, oh, so good. Then you won't feel this. To make your ego smaller. Anyway, I hear Shantideva is talking about the conscientiousness. So that's why I'm bringing all this stuff. Okay, let's see this screen. Okay. Okay. Raphael is done. Okay. 다들 지금 로그인다. 탐닝 자당 현직도 용어를 하고 있는 묘몬 천의 술자신 묘몬 단음 지버딱 세시도. Okay, 68, please.
Just as an old warrior approaches the swords of an enemy upon the battlefront, so shall I avoid the weapons of the disturbing conceptions and skillfully bind this enemy.
용어를 하고 있이 묘몬 천의 술자신 There are in this example, there are a few things to be noted. Shantideva said, "Ningba." Ning is something.
And he just translates that as an old warrior or
Old warrior,
or what the other translation in the commentary is a seasoned warrior, someone who's battled a lot.
That I think the best translation for here will be like old means something that like old friend. Like my old enemy means I have fought him many times. So that means I'm familiar with his moves. That this is something to, if you look at the commentary by Shantideva, it's quite clear in there. So if you are fighting with some kind of a new enemy, and which you really don't know anything about him, and he can show you so many kind of moves, new moves that you are not expecting anything, and you will get hit by from back on the front, and you will not know where to bring this sort of
protect oneself,
protect
as they stop
yourself.
attacks.
So one thing in the example need to know is this old. What is that meaning, old? So that means now if we bring this into the point, the meaning, it will be like, in order to protect you from your own old friend, which is the negative emotions, how it is really it has a strong influence on you that you need to know. So that means same as what Buddha taught in the Four Noble Truths. The first one, know the suffering. The first truth.
He's translated it here as I think it's just as an old warrior approaches the swords of the enemy, or the other translation is face the swords of the enemy. But I couldn't find Dekpa. You know, commentary also, but I couldn't. I couldn't get a good translation of
that it's like more like you had a kind of unfinished business. we say, right?
Yeah.
We do have something to be finished, right? Something particular unfinished business. That's what we call, right? This is the same story with our negative emotions, but we don't learn from our old habits, especially from the negative emotions, because sometimes I call it a gift. Sometimes it's not a really good gift, because our gift is we went through so many problems, and then we forget, and sometimes we ignore, and that's one powerful thing. If we don't forget, if we just stick with these memories, we might go crazy. The power is slowly it goes away. That's one power. But that up to here, the power, that kind of power we have is good. But that one not good thing is like we don't learn from this. Because if this kind of thing happens again, then what is your move? How are you going to encounter, or how are you going to engage? Yeah, that's a better one. How are you going to engage with this problem? This wasn't kind of inside our brain. This we need to install. This we need to have this every time. We are just like, oh, it happened. I went through very hard life. Now I'm so happy because it's finished. Yes, it finished in this kind of form, but it might come in a different kind of form. And then are you going to suffer again? Of course, because you are not preparing anything to overcome or answer it. We are just going to bury it like the cat does. So this is necessary. So here, the meaning of the Rakal Hapa, it's a kind of unfinished thing with the negative emotions. Nyomon Tsenlu Surja Shing, Nyomon Dharma Jibata. Here the okay. Adi Chimani di Yabushavajore. Chimani di Diredoga. Nyomol ne Yebatsum pink maris. Nyomol Yeba, Nyomone Tarbatsam she panto maris. Yeba Silva, Bena Yebasana, Lagad Machivche. Dimachin, Tadu Shiji, Nyomon Gudus Jesona, or then Nyomon Gi to the Yamachi usual stage. Yeba Silva. Yebatsum she panto maris. Urgency Malas, my David Kabla, Midig Tsu Jig Chidab Shubina, Shuayonbina, and Deepa Yebatsum she panto maris. Qualify shoot of Gurubas. There was that. Malka do you two shooting the son of Pashuma, my shoe tabishing maris. My David Kablina, two do she God Gurche, too much of a chat. Party depth was Gurubas. Roa, or Tinashing, Maranzuki, Chambada Shishin to Zuki, you won't give a cover, you won't give to some pie. I mean, you won't choose to get in your monte. And Bujum Chavaji said Lagling, says you, Garnet Sodeman and you weaver, Bujum Chess, says you were. Bujum seduce some bay, Yard Burbu, Yam Giadu Skevatan, my jump. Bujum Chester. All this that is what you say. Then the Rodanji was in the way. You won't send a suggestion, you won't Janam Jimberta, said.
So it reads in the last two lines of the verse, where it reads, so I will avoid the weapons of the disturbing conceptions and skillfully bind this enemy, or another translation is I strike my enemy, I will strike my enemy upon the quick or swiftly retaliate. So these two lines are very crucial to this understanding. And for instance, when the negative emotions are disturbing conceptions, as the translation here, when they, it's not just good enough for us to have a kind of awareness of the fact that they have arisen, or that awareness alone, or the fact that the disturbing conceptions are sort of coming at us, but we can't just have that. Just that alone, just realizing that alone is not of kind of ultimate benefit to us. And the analogy that's used in the commentary is as to how when you're in a battle, or if you only have that kind of method of avoiding the blows that the enemy hit their attacking kind of moves, if you're just ducking and weaving and avoiding that alone, but you have no sense in which you are also yourself trying to strike back at the enemy. So you, in an effective warrior, would have both of those aspects, to avoid the blows of the enemy and to also find opportunities to strike back. And so in the same way, with the disturbing conceptions, we need to have that sense of awareness of the way in which they are kind of coming to harm us, but we also need a kind of method, or we need to be able to strike back and sort of knock them down and kind of counteract them. So you have to have both of those aspects, just as an example the warrior would have.
산지기 최대 도움이 그런 계주를 때 디지 중국도가 남샤준도 최 림바도 때 림바직디 안에 묘몽 문유르바 마제베체도 아니 룽아 이웃숨이야 녀죄도 녀죄도야지 되네 되네 하질레도 다 지기 지부 등에 지부 등세네래 아니 라바르도 양 아니디 대과 전부 스루왕을 전주선배기 대과 걸어야 되는 값소 아니 셈 류기 절람 가르치는 개발면 두스 류기 시간에 셈 코랑리야 영어 마고 다시 좁고 저장을 전주선배기 배도 시하되 배나 팀이 되는 이값이야 아니 저도 좋아하죠 세던 우리 라고 창조해 봐 이나 전주선배 긴든지기 아니 신기야 대바진의 세던 표시하베이나 되게 많이 베이나 전주선배 동안 봐 되고 로단데 그 할리 진에게 당분 용문의 요에 답시 체단체 다 되는 용문 맞게 보랑 까는 체 용 까봐서 하고 말해 아니 신기 셈송 소소의 용문 맞게 봐도 마세 신기 셈송 도야 돼 도스도도
신기 셈
셈송해야 돼 전주선배 로도 당하도 다 네가 내배 먹고 싶어 봐 세상에 저도 다 셈근 내배 좀 맞고 그래도
So then sort of cutting down in this way of cutting down the disturbing conceptions has many kind of there's a very specific kind of features of the kind of the way that the stages in which the Buddha reveals the teachings on how to practice the Dharma, and these in the beginning as kind of an initial kind of stage of practice, then what we try to do is to kind of cut down the kind of the manifest the mental afflictions, the disturbing conceptions. We try to cut down the kind of manifest level of those, and the faults that arise from those by kind of restraining the three doors of the body, speech, and mind. So that's at a kind of initial level. You're just trying to get rid of the kind of primary and manifest kind of negative emotions. Then, if we something perhaps we can equate with the in the stages of practice with it being on the kind of middle scope, and there we and then also perhaps that can also be a little bit equated with the Mahayana vehicle, the greater vehicle, or the Bodhisattva vehicle of the Bodhisattvas. And they're not so much really focusing on kind of particularly on areas of conduct, not specifically out of, say, sort of body and mind. They're focusing on physical kind of and mental actions. They're focused less on the kind of physical aspects of conduct, and more on the kind of mental background to all of to practice. So, for instance, in the Hinayana Hinayana vows, or the kind of the way of taking the vows, and there are certain restraints such as that those practitioners are not allowed to in any way kind of touch or handle money or gold or money or whatever it is. Whereas for a bodhisattva, there's a kind of, for the bodhisattva, if others in the bodhisattva way of practicing in relation to that kind of situation, then if others were to make offerings of generosity towards the bodhisattva, then it would almost be a kind of fault of their vows to not accept that, which is a kind of way of thinking, not just about protecting oneself, but also kind of protection for and kind of did it picture the Shengisem so to say the Shen go cup the Korean
고급 말에 그냥 선아 신기 신리야 수놈사비 고급적으로 봐. 어디 고급적이고
So it's sort of the way Rinpoche said it, it's like Shengisem Song, but it's sort of kind of protection of other people's minds as well. But that also can kind of include things like giving the opportunity to others to be able to accrue kind of meritorious practice. So you have this kind of more mental focus, away from less away from the kind of vowed restraints of the physical. And then, of course, if we move from there on up to, so there's more focus on the mind, and then taking that to a further level, we have tantric practices.
다 되는 두주 레굴라 69 유도 리지 통교나 지배 뉴도 램바터 티신 템베 천쇼나 니위 지든 뉴르랑스 69
If someone dropped a sword during a battle, they would immediately pick it up out of fear. Likewise, if I lose the weapon of mindfulness, I should quickly retrieve it, being afraid of hell.
There's recently in Delhi, my roommate, my friend, a very close friend, he came to stay with me. And then he recently bought iPhone, and the latest iPhone. And then he has so much thinking towards it, isn't it? And then he was laying down and watching some kind of a YouTuber, I don't know. And then I was doing my recitations and I was watching him. And then he was so tired, as he's a businessman. And then coming late night, and then he wanted to talk with me. He talked a little bit, then I was doing my visitations and so on. So he went watching his stuff online, and then he was falling asleep, and he was holding phone with his phone, sleeping. And amazing, he closed his eyes and he started, I don't know what it's called, sleep. Not talking, but then his hands looking like he's going to drop his precious one on the floor, but he didn't. The whole time, almost like it, for 40 minutes, he was doing like this. I was thinking, yes, drop it. 40 minutes, he didn't drop it. And it's incredible. It's powerful. And then next morning, I'm a naughty person, so I took a video of that. Before he said, no, I didn't do it. I took a video of that on my iPad. It's here, evidence here. So I put it. It's 1 hour and something long, and he was doing this. He didn't drop a phone. I drop my phone a lot. One time I was watching like this, and then the phone fell on my. I had a bruise somewhere a long time ago. So he was much better than me. And then the next morning, I checked with him and say, "You did something this. So before sleeping, what you were thinking? Do you feel like that you will drop the phone?" And he was so like a little bit shy, and then he said no. And I showed his video, and he looked like it. That's amazing. It's amazing. So we came to the kind of a conclusion saying that yes, because he paid a lot, and then he don't want to drop it. That could be the power. Similarly, here, Shantideva, if you look at the 69, if you in the war, the early war, and you are fighting with your opponent, and you drop your sword in the middle of the fight, and then immediately you will go and look for this. You won't waste a few seconds to get back the sword. because this thought is your lifesaver and your protection. So what does then you right after this, when Shantideva is going into the meaning, he's saying like, when you lose the awareness of awareness, which is like
the weapon of mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
It's like,
Then remember, like it's more like in the fight, you lose a fight, you lose the sword, and then you feel like, if I don't get it right away, my opponent will get me. This is the fear. Like in our daily life, when something like you lose the awareness of awareness, your mindfulness
and vigilance.
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 Is there any kind of a way of thinking like, now if I don't get this vigilance mind, I'm done for? Is this happening? That's what I asked you before. It is not going to happen. It's a very normal. Not happening with us, it's very normal with us. So that means there's something wrong with us that we really need to check ourselves. Great beings looks like they are enjoying the life like us, like very samsaric thing, but they do have this vigilant mind, very strong. Here is a very big differences. If these two guys going and talking or gossiping, but one is really enjoying it, one is doing it, maybe he has so much kind of this vigilance mind, awareness. He's not really doing as the first person. So that we really need to see whether it's happening with you too or not. And here he says, think of the hell drums, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes also we can think about all this hell and all thing, but it is very important to think this precious human rebirth. How do you see and recognize that precious human rebirth? If you don't have this kind of recognition, if you don't recognize this, then I think the vigilance mind will never come. So if you feel like, oh, if there will be one day you might feel your compassion is so fresh and thinking like, well, oh, wish he shouldn't do like this. He shouldn't do like this, because she and he is really losing her precious human rebirth. If you can say this, feel this, then something is growing in you, something is shining in you. That's kind of same as what Shantideva was saying. Oh, then think about hell, and you will bring back your vigilance mind. It's a kind of similar. Sometimes we need to see in the bright side. Sometimes we need to see in the dark side. Be balanced. So Shantideva here, he's going very serious with his student monks. Then he's talking about the hell. If you, His Holiness Dalai Lama used to say, if you really love someone and wanted to take care of someone, then sometimes we don't talk about the only nice things. We will talk about the worst thing and then make the other person stronger. No, this could be the one. But many people see the hell or something, the flesh, and there were some complaints, there were many complaints to Shantideva. This is a very nice one. Bring the awareness, bring the awareness. 69. Okay, now 70. Okay. 10시지급 예와스. 70를 지다 탈 때는 돈을 켜주고 대신 나니 예주나 예배 셈을 켜버 주서 70 please.
Just as poison spreads throughout the body and depends upon the circulation of blood, likewise, if a disturbing conception finds an opportunity, unwholesomeness will permeate my mind.
This is a very great reminder. Unless we don't take care of our like a wound, right? Wounds, right? There could be some kind of wound that in future, like it becomes like you will lose your arm if you not start to taking care of the wound from starting from now. So then, if the doctor, you have a one doctor and a famous doctor, and then he says you have to take care of this, otherwise this will give this kind of pain in the future. Then you will put all your effort not to give a chances to this kind of situation to occur, to happen. But the shameful thing is, whenever we do something bad things, we don't feel that is slowly it's going to destroy us. This Shantideva is saying, if we start doing bad things, then maybe you won't see the good thing is there's no instant karma. Many people want instant karma. If there's an instant karma, I will do the practice very well. But it's not like this. So it takes time. So it takes time. So when it takes time, then you always forget, oh, it's okay. If I become rich, if this, it's okay. Or maybe, yeah, I really like it. So let me do this. Even I know I'm doing something wrong. So we close our eyes because not seeing how this kind of imprint or this kind of influence that has an influence on us. We never ask this question. So Shantideva, great master, here says, all negative emotions and the cause of the negative emotions, the seeds itself has a danger that slowly it will take over our positive actions, or because it's quite true. If nobody wants to be, there is not a single person in this world saying like, today I'm going out there and to make somebody angry, and I will be angry and I will make everybody angry. There's nobody like this. I don't think so. Have you ever heard of this? No. But all the situation, it's something like this. That person does not have an intention to do this, and we don't have an intention to meet somebody that is full of frustration and anger. But it happens like this. And let's not just point the finger to the others, but he or she can say so many bad things. Okay, she cannot control her negative emotions. That's not your part to deal with. Now your part to deal with is, if you can forgive. If you cannot forgive, then don't make this something very, very personal. And at least don't bring this to home. And don't mix this with other people. But we can't do this. And that's everybody's excuse. I had a bad day. Sorry. That's like one big day. That small thing has made everything the bad day. And then the wife or the husband or the children or the family member or in the business, everybody has to accept this. Yes, we need to be careful with him because he has a bad day. If you want to become a good boss or a good father or a good mother, you say, I had a bad day. But let's talk about this, because he said something like that, I said something like that. Okay, he might have been going through a rough time, and then it happened with me. It's nothing personal, I think. Okay, get back to your work. Oh, that's so good. And there's no bad day. But it's a bad day for us because that's the Shantideva we're saying. It's more like a sword which has, that sword is dipping into the poison, the world's deadliest poison. And then the enemy strikes on you, and you got the wound, and you forgot to take care of this wound. And then this slowly goes inside you and kills you. So then it becomes more, if you start to recognize this sword is full of this kind of dangerous stuff on it, then more awareness you will bring in you. It's not like normal sword, it's like very danger. So similarly, we need to see, now from here today, takeaway from the whole thing is, we have to know this so-called negative emotions. We are saying that we are under the sway of the negative emotions. We say it, but we don't feel it. That feeling is when somebody is saying, like person like me is saying like, oh yeah, then we go like, yeah, that's true. But we never got like, you sit down in on the cushion by yourself and then look into it. And then you feel that's 100% true. That's a big deal. That's something we wanted. And then automatically nobody needs to tell you, bring awareness. But the problem is, most of us, like including me, we heard from our teachers saying this is dangerous, this is not good. And then we came in the kind of community that says, oh, this is dangerous. And then once this is finished, this function or this teaching or this event is finished, it's not with any this kind of feeling, this kind of the inspiration is not there with you anymore, because you haven't taking it with you home, which you left it there on the cushion where you took the teaching. So then the question is always there. What is the best teaching or practice that I can do every day? Daily practices. What is the best? Most, if I go to the West, most people have this question. But the Shantideva has already said this. Said like that. So now, as we say, some people have anger issue. Some people have attachment issue. All these are there. The person has to recognize it. And then remember the teachings of Shantideva here. And then each attachment and this anger, aversion does have this kind of the salt which is dipping into this poison for thousands and thousands of years, and then it's going to get you. Once it's got you, and that's this influence way, impact kare dinagardo the child then to chaba said.
It says in it will permeate you or your mind. It says here permeate.
Permit.
It will permeate our mind.
Permeate your mind.
Or pervade our mind.
Pervade. So I think we already, most of us, I don't know who else didn't get this thought. We all got this thought because this we do say like we cannot cure him or we cannot improve him because it's in his blood. We do say this. In Indian language, we do have this, but in English, I don't know if you can say this or not. We can save in the genes, or the genes is better. so this it does not mean that we cannot be cured, but it's true that that kind of things, what makes your day bad or suffering, everybody has a suffering in different form, but some people don't take it like seriously, but some people know how this works, and then he has a power to look into the situation, and then he will just he can laugh at the situation, and then next time it happens, he will not cry because he experienced once and he learned it. But we are the one never experienced. We are experiencing every time, and then we cry every time. And then the greatest, the mantra right after the suffering, the great suffering is, why me? It's not only you. You feel like it's only you. Because we need to think about this a lot. And then automatically you feel like, okay, now what can save me from this? And then can you answer bodhicitta? Why bodhicitta? Everybody might be thinking. And then automatically it goes like, if you want to get out from the samsara, bodhicitta. Can you answer this? you want to benefit whole sentient beings, bodhicitta. That most people answer. But the first, I don't know if people can answer. Bodhicitta can help you to get out of the suffering. That's normally we don't say it much. It's there. It does have the power. And in order to have a good family life, bodhicitta. Yeah. If you can answer it, then this is something to be dig in, dig it out. It's funny because great Adisha, whenever he gets a kind of a problem, he just folded hand and thank you, Guru, for giving me this pain. And then if something good happens, then also he says, thank you, Guru. This has happened due to your kindness. It looks like the Adisha believes in a God. But his way of thinking is so sharp. And then one of my teachers says, today we're having this conversation. Can you prove this is through the kindness of the bodhicitta and Buddhas? Can you prove it? What do you think? Yes, no? Like in the middle? Yeah, the middle way is not working, huh? It does have a logic behind this. If we don't believe like this, then we need to remember how does the enlightened activities work. So you might feel like, oh, I did a great thing today. And if you think like everything I did it, even your teacher teaches you and whatever thing, oh, it's from my side. Teacher has to teach because he is the teacher. Oh, he has to give me this teaching because I offered him a Mercedes car. And then whatever you feel like you have this realization is from your own. I don't know, it's so greedy or so ungrateful. So if you are like the opposite of this, then you might feel like, oh, this happens from his kindness, or my teachers, and then all this working together, and this happened. So Buddha, he said in the Madhyamika Avatara, if you really want to make a prostration to me, and he said, if you make a prostration to the newly generated bodhicitta, that bodhisattva, if you make a prostration to him, and then I am guaranteed that you are making prostrations to me. I have a doubt if you make a prostration to me directly, I have a doubt whether you are making prostrations to the Buddha. That's what he said. That's a heavy one. That's a really heavy one. There are so many things that now we need to see in our mind. Okay, so I'm so sorry for confusing your mind. and I'm so honored to give you so many things to you. So, so let's stop here today. Thank you. Okay. Who will do the medication? Cassie, you want to do it? Who's here the computer?
Having thoroughly investigated and poured with all that occurred, day and night through the 4 reasons, mind born of reflection on these topics of contemplation, may this discernment sever all doubts. And the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. And all my lives never separated from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the grounds and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. I fully dedicate all these virtues to be able to train just like the hero and Jushu, who knows reality, and just like Samantha Vajra as well. I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best, by all but gone beyond victorious ones of 3 times, in order to have good conduct. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread I have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness in the end.
today. Okay. Okay, thank you.